what you're shouting. I'm deaf to your show. It's easy to lose your self-control. Everybody gets high, everybody gets low. Life can be such overdose. Up on the mountain, I see down below. It's easy to lose yourself, I know. In the in-between.
All right, here we are. I think the sound's good. Big updates to the quality. Got myself a little shirt mic here, so you don't have to listen to the terrible wind noise. You just get to hear me raw, clearing my throat. No script for this one. Usually I make these and I've got a little bit of like something to follow on my phone. I'm just gonna talk. I'm just gonna chat, per usual. We're gonna do something a little different with this video as well. I believe we're gonna make maybe like a walkthrough on some of the projects I'm gonna do today. Obviously, as you've seen on the social medias, or as you may have seen in the previous videos, the plan was to make the splitter. Everybody's sick of seeing it by now. I understand. Here it is in its completed form. Professional, awesome, quick disconnects, splitter rods, my Home Depot garden edging, carbon fiber end plates, whole 9 yards. Got the street one on because it just looks kind of hideous and plain without it. Test fit, idiot. I test fit the splitter, put it on the car and drove it around the street for a little bit just to find out that the stock suspension, stock Magneride, technically the springs aren't stiff enough to keep it off the ground. At high speeds, in gentle braking, it'll scrape, and then low speeds and heavy braking, it'll scrape, which is like all the evidence you need to know that you'll have to run a stiffer spring. With that being said, I obviously did this a little backwards. Usually I build the car mechanically first, then add the fun stuff, whether it's build it to be strong and then add stuff on, kind of like building the motor and then doing boost. What I should have done is worked on mechanical grip and then moved to aerodynamic grip. Got too excited, carried away. All right, not sure where I left off. Dad called me, it's all good. I did it kind of backwards. I added aerodynamic grip first instead of working on mechanical grip. Obviously, you should work on mechanical grip first because once you start to move to big aero, it kind of throws things off a little bit. With that being said, before this track day, I do want to run the splitter regardless. That splitter, the big one. Went through all that work, making the splitter, making the mounts, whole 9 yards. I'm gonna use the thing. So, went with AJ Hartman's coilover conversion kit. Technically, it's the Magneride coilover conversion kit. It's a really cool kit. He makes these, I would say you'd call them perches, but they kind of go where the perches are to allow for this flat surface. And I might do an install video, or maybe just one side to kind of put in here so you can see it. But this basically allows you to run a 2.5 inch by 7 inch spring. I'm not too sure what he had said in his video. And if I could link it, if YouTube lets me, I'll link it in the bottom so you can kind of see more info on this. But I think the stiffest spring rate they make for these cars aftermarket is like 250 pounds maybe. Maybe it's less than that. Maybe it's like 220 or something, and it might be Eibach or something. I'm not sure. I've got the Ford performance lowering springs on here, and I want to say they're like low 200s. Not enough. But with these perches, it allows you to run your choice of any spring rate, basically. I think it's actually 300 to 400 pounds. Anything more than that, I think the spring is a little bit taller, and then you kind of have issues with ride height and whatnot. But I went with these. He sends all the hardware. You can get the springs from him as well. I just went to Hyperco and got the springs. It's the same one he gets. Anyways, I went with a 375 pound compared to the 200, 220, whatever it is. I'm hoping that's sufficient. Watching his video, he had the 350 pound springs, and it got rid of like 90% of his splitter scraping on track. There's like a few compression zones that were like, I think it was at VIR maybe. I think there's one zone that's a compression zone under heavy braking where it really just, you know, digs the nose into the ground. Brainerd doesn't really have anything like that. They have like one really heavy, like high speed to heavy braking zone right before turn 3, coming into turn 3. That's the only one that I'm like kind of worried about. So yeah, also after this track day, I will get the rear set up as well. He kind of does a very similar thing. I think there's like, I can't remember what else is in the kit, but he's got a kit for the rear as well that allows you to adjust spring rate. Go over to his website. He's also been a massive help. I kind of feel bad. I don't know if you'll see this, AJ, but I appreciate all the help. I'm super annoying, and I know I am. I ask him a million questions, and he answers all million questions like it's, you know, he's a super nice guy, very helpful, always willing to chat with me, so I appreciate that a ton. And he's got really good stuff. And I highly recommend not making your own splitter because the materials are very expensive, and the time and labor that goes into it and the risk you run of like really fucking it up if you're not experienced like me is just doesn't seem too worth it. And I know he makes some pretty good stuff. He's got like a good deal where you can send in like a template, and I don't know the price, but it's cheaper and it's better construction and it's definitely worth it. Moving on. Not too sure what else. Oh, I have to do a wheel hub as well. There's some like pretty bad humming coming from the front left when I load the front left wheel. Kind of like high speeds, right turn, I can kind of hear it pretty bad. So we're gonna replace that. That's not an issue. I don't even know what else I have to talk about. Oh, yeah, I do. We got the Radium catch cans installed as well. I am gonna actually do B-roll. So you're gonna see like right now, maybe there'll be me talking in the background and I'm filming the catch cans. Maybe you're watching it right now. Wow, look at that. Look at the AN fittings. That's very nice. It took me forever. I had to build brackets for it because there's no room to put 32 ounce, 1 quart size catch cans in that engine bay nicely with it still being like somewhat factory. So I had to stick one in the front passenger side. I had to take out my windshield wiper fluid reservoir, which I managed to dump all over me from underneath the car. I took out my AC condenser, the AC compressor, pretty much everything. All the lines, whole 9 yards. Which reminds me, I also have to work on some ducting for the radiator. It has a little gap in between the ducting where the condenser was. And so basically it just allows stuff. It's not very good for high pressure, kind of bleeds out. So I want to get that done before the track. That shouldn't take too much time though. I can go get some aluminum sheeting or whatever and figure that out. Maybe I'll do that in the video too. I don't know. We missed our May 2nd track day. We were gonna do this event called Slowpokes in Brainerd. It turns out you would have to bring your car to like a certified shop to have it teched in. I also have yet to get a Hans device, head and neck device, which would be smart to have one anyways, especially as we get, you know, kind of more serious. Our balls grow a little bit. Mine need to grow a lot of bit just to get to normal size. And then I am moving to slicks. I mentioned that in the last video. I have to mount those as well. People who have ran Michelin slicks in the past, I'm pretty sure these are from, well, they're takeoffs from Todd Zimmer. It's like GT, I think it's GT Racing or GT Track Tire or something like that. I can't remember. I might plug that too. It's a sweet deal. I got all 4 slicks for like $700, like to my door. I think they're 150 bucks a piece. They're takeoffs, so they're a little scrubbed in. But if anybody's ran them on these cars, let me know. I haven't found anything. They're 295 30 19s, and these are 305 30 19s. So I know the sidewall is going to be like slightly smaller, and the width is going to be a little bit narrower. However, these are 11-inch rims, and I'm pretty sure 295 millimeter is like 11 and a half or 11.6 or something like that inches, which should put the tread width like perfectly over the edges of the wheel. And I'm hoping with the shorter sidewall and the little tighter tire, it'll fit a lot nicer and maybe kind of liven up the car. I've heard that running, well, I haven't heard, I know that running a wider tire isn't always best for traction because you can get a little bit of a disconnect if they're too wide for the rim. That's kind of an issue. And then the other thing I'll have to figure out is the pressures and camber we're going to run it at. And that's going to be all the stuff you'll see in a track video. You know, I'm sure it's something we'll kind of do on the fly while we're in the pits or something. And then I also have to add a rear camber. I think right now I have like maybe -1.5 degree in the back, which I don't think is sufficient. I don't really see too many issues with these tires these are wearing like pretty evenly. For those wondering, GT350 Vorschlag caster camber plates. I have it at roughly, I think 3 or 3.2, negative 3.2 degree of camber. And for the Goodyear Supercar 3Rs, that seems to be about perfect in the front, where I get like nice even tread wear all around. I think the backs could use a little bit more, but just food for thought there. Well, right now, it's May 24th. The track day is June 20th. Between now and then, I'll have this video on YouTube. A few other things. Oh, I got some fender vents here. Well, they're not here. Just picture them right here. And I'm pretty sure, from what I've seen, also for people, that any of these cars, or any car in general, when you put fender vents in here, I've seen people like cut out half of their fender liner. I've seen people like drill a bunch of holes in it. Like they'll take a hole saw that's maybe like this big and drill like 30 holes. If anybody has any like tips or maybe advice for that, feel free to comment it. I get notifications for the comments, so if you type a comment, I'm probably going to see it and I'll answer it right away, or I'll use it for knowledge. I don't know when I'll do that. That might be in a few weeks, so I'll give it some time for this video to be up, just in case. Okay, also, I did weigh the car. That's something that I've wanted to do for a while. I weighed 3,760 pounds, I believe, which if you Google the curb weight of the car, I'm pretty sure it's exactly 3,760 pounds, which makes me feel pretty good because of the things I've added and the things I've kind of like taken away. And by taken away, I mean like weight removed or replaced with lighter weight things. With the additional power just from the new motor, basically I've netted performance. So added aerodynamic, or basically added downforce, added grip due to the wheels and tires, added power, you know, chassis rigidity with the roll cage. Pretty much anything that has been done to the car has obviously benefited it in a performance way without really increasing the weight at all, which is very good. Obviously, it's still a heavy car, 3,760 pounds, but with enough power, stiff enough suspension, anything can feel light. I will probably have to do new brakes after this next track day. I might be able to squeeze out 2 track days this year with these brakes, but they've done really well. They're Cobalt XR1s in the front and XR3s in the back. I mentioned that in a previous garage talk video. I don't even know how much of this I'm repeating and how much I'm going to keep in, but I'll have to rewatch my own video to know what I talked about last time. Talk about the events this summer. I know there's a few of you that I've talked to that are kind of like, or that have messaged me, or I've messaged you, and you're like somewhat local, or if you're part of the Shelby Club. We'll be up in Brainerd in June 20th through the 22nd for North Star Speed Summit. That's our like first event. There's gonna be a group of like 30 of us this year. I'm really excited about it. All the friends are going. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have this sweet setup with this giant tent, and I think we're gonna have like games and car stuff. I think we're gonna have like a racing sim. One of my buddies is gonna bring his, and we're gonna be grilling out. It's gonna be a ton of fun. And then July 25th through the 27th is Grid Life at Road America, and we're just going there to spectate. We'll be there the whole weekend. The following weekend, which I believe is like the last weekend of July / the first weekend of August, is Power Cruise Part 2, and not bringing the car to that one. But I am going up there to support a couple friends that I have that have some just wicked fast cars. I got a buddy with just a insane C6. His name's Sumner. And then I got a buddy with that red GT500 that goes up, Taylor. He usually comes up to the North Star Speed Summit event and does the road course. But they both have incredible cars. They drive the shit out of them. And we'll just go up there to support them. 2 weeks after that, we're going to Brainerd Nationals, NHRA Nationals, to watch top fuel drag cars, hang out there. And then I believe a few weeks after that, or a couple weeks after that, is the second North Star Speed Summit of the year, where we'll be racing this. I'm going to try to find a day, another track day in between those two, because my goal was 3 or 4 this year. Right now I only have 2 scheduled since we missed the May 2nd one. But the Northwood Shelby Club has a track event at Road America, like 4th of July weekend, that I'd really like to go to, but it's super soon after North Star Speed Summit. So that probably won't happen. But yeah, summer full of fun. It's a beautiful night tonight. I'm gonna get working on this. I will film some of it. Maybe just film one side of putting the spring in. Got a bunch of people coming over tonight. We'll probably have a fire, eat some food, do some car stuff. It's a beautiful day here. Plenty to be thankful for. If you've enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. Follow my socials, Keegs_5.2 on Instagram. Follow AJ Hartman. He's been a huge help with this aero stuff, which is kind of the primary focus of this video, I think. It is currently Saturday, May 24th, and he shipped this out like Thursday afternoon. So it took like a day to get here. He came from Virginia. But I'm really excited, and I'll make a video. Maybe I'll put it in this one. Maybe I'll make a long-ass video with like kind of the overview of everything. Maybe I'll strap the splitter on. You'll see some of the work done to the coilover conversion kit. You'll see me snap the splitter on. I already said that. I'll just try and show you a bunch of stuff. I'm rambling on. We'll see you later.